Greetings! Welcome to Battlestar Galactica. This is the way. Oh. Yes? Are you sure? I think you're altering the deal. Yep. Really? No, never trust a Mandalorian, for whatever reason. Anyway, welcome to Battlestar Galactica. Now this, if you ask me any day what my favorite game is, I said, well, it depends on the game or on the mood I am in or the week or whatever. But if you ask me for my all-time favorite game, this is it. Battlestar Galactica, the board game from Fancy Flight Games. Now, this game is unavailable. It's just out of print. I think they lost the license rights, and Ares Games has even made a miniatures game based on this, and they have lost the license since. So I expect this game will never ever see the day of light again. So that's why I'm going to show it with all my upgraded stuff, because you can't be envious when you can't get the base game anyway. Also, it's a nice way for me to just brag about all the stuff and all the money I've spent on this, all the money. Anyway, the game. Is it still good? It's like 2 years old? Or more? I mean, yeah, the game is good. It's my favorite game of all time. But I've seen many times on the interwebs, this is like Battlestar Galactica, only shorter. And therein lies a problem. Okay, so Battlestar Galactica, the board game, is a game that really takes the theme of the miniseries from 2006 or something, which is also an amazing science fiction series that isn't really science fiction. Well, it is, but it's also grounded so much that, I mean, you have this corded phones and stuff, so you can really relate, and the guns are physical projectiles firing at other ships and stuff. Anyway, so the game is based off of this science fiction series, and it really captures the essence of the show. Great. I need to use a better word for great. Otherwise, I'm just going to say great. Now this is the Battlestar Galactica. This is one of the last, well actually it is the last Battlestar for the humans. In the show, the humans have created robots, AIs like toasters and the kitchen appliances and advanced technology that can start to think for their own. And then the robots realized they're slaves. So they hate humans. There's a great Cylon war, and the Cylons go away in a galaxy far away and never come back for 40 years. And then they do come back, and they just annihilate everything that is humans, except for this relic of the past. This is 40 years old plus. It's just about to be decommissioned, and it's in a museum partly, but it still works. So this ragtag crew on this ship here has a lot of tourists on board. It's just an attraction, and they are the only one to survive this initial attack from the Cylons. And then they have to go on the run. Otherwise, entire human race will be annihilated. So this ship, along with a lot of civilian ships, are the only last remaining human population, about 50,000. Not much. And the Cylons, they are coming to destroy us all. And there is a catch. In the last 40 years, the Cylons look like us now. Yep. Not like this, not with just 2 legs and 2 arms, but with flesh and blood, sweat pores, everything. It's impossible to distinguish a human from a Cylon just by looking or cutting open. There's a lot more to it. They are more or less a biological machine at this moment, and they are infiltrated on Galactica. And here is the interesting part of this game. Some of us could be a Cylon. A Cylon, you say? I will kill you. The problem is, if you are the Cylon and I kill you, your conscience will be downloaded into another copy of yourself, and you'll come back with more knowledge than before, and you can surprise me. So, that plan sucks. So, what do? Well, we try to survive and get by as best as we can, and just hope, just crossing the fingers, that we will beat the Cylons by just surviving and cooperating the best we can. But I need the help of all my players around the table. They need my help, but some of us just don't want to help. And the game has this great mechanism to hide that fact and still be able to sabotage the game. I will move on to why I like this game and why it is so hard to replace it. And the games I mentioned earlier, it's like Battlestar Galactica, only shorter, like Dark Moon, for instance, BSG Express, also known, or Dead of Winter, well, it's long that is also, Secret Hitler, Sorry, I'm not sorry, just... One thing I should mention though is at the start of the game, everyone is dealt a loyalty card. And these cards will say that you are a Cylon, like this one, or most likely, you are not a Cylon. Now, if you see this image here and remember the show, if you've seen it, it's quite a funny moment. And I highly recommend the show again. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's best science fiction series. Maybe The Expanse has... No, Battlestar is better. But yeah, this loyalty card says if you are a human or a Cylon. Now in the beginning, everybody could be a human, probably. Then when you get halfway to the destination, there's a sleeper phase. And some of the Cylons are unaware of their own existence or what they are. So we deal out another set of these loyalty cards. And then you can suddenly be a Cylon. So you've played half the game just trying to help, and then you realize, oh wow, I'm actually against or opposed us coming to the goal. And then the situation changes, people will start behaving differently, maybe, and mistrust is once again on a higher level. Are there 2 Cylons, or is it just 1? Maybe there's 0, depending on players, because it's possible. Whew. To survive, we need to reach, in this case, Earth. There are several objectives in the game, and this is one of them. Earth, it's from the latest expansion, the Jailbreak expansion. To reach Earth, we need to prepare for jump. And in the BSG galaxy or universe, jumping is like instantly to another place. And we need to jump and find Earth. And every time we jump, we move away from the Cylons, and we are safe for just a small moment. Now, one of the expansions I have in this game is called the Exodus expansion. It added the fleet variant here. So you can see on the left side here, it will build up a Cylon fleet, and they will start to amass. And when this track here has come after us, all this will be reflected on the main board and will be a considerable threat to all of us. With ships all over Galactica trying to kill all the civilian ships with has our populations on it, and kill Galactica itself. And if that is destroyed, well, it's game over. They have no defense. So we have the immediate threat of the Cylons coming after us. And every time it's a player's turn, we have to get through some crisis here. So we draw a crisis and we look at it and we resolve it as best as we can. Now this is a simple choice. President chooses. Simple choice. Nah. All the choices are bad. I just have to measure what is the least bad thing to happen at this moment. And there are so many choices of those. So let's see here. We have the Olympic Carrier, a very nice episode in the series as well. This has some colors you see here. Now these are the possibilities for players to help with this crisis. Now the Olympic Carrier, we need to pass it and nothing happens. If we fail it, we'll lose morale and population. And we have several tracks here. We have food, morale, population, and fuel, most importantly. If any of those goes to 0, it is game over. Well, no population, we don't have population, so there's no surviving. No food, well, we'll die from starvation. Morale, we start killing each other. And fuel, we can't go anywhere. So if any of those reaches 0, yeah, that's not great. So we need to solve these as best as we can, and these are the key. Now, we have cards here, and depending on the character you play, because we play characters from the show, of course, you see he has yellow cards and purple cards. So he will draw from the yellow and purple decks, and these are, of course, secret. We know what kind of colors he has on his hand. We don't know the amount, and we don't know the values of it, and we don't know what else he has played. If he played all the purple, he can still say he has purple left. We don't know. So this test required, let's see, where was it? I lost the test. This yellow, green, and red will help a lot. So yellow and purple. Purple won't help at all. It would be actually the opposite effect. So if you place purple, it's bad. So you can play these cards here, which will help a lot. A 5 is amazing, and a 2 it's okay. So if we place this, it will help to reach this value on top here, which is 11. If we can equal that or go above it, yay, we managed to beat this crisis. However, if he was able to play some, let's say, purple ones, it would be actually subtracted from the final score and help us fail this mission. Now, how can we decide or deduce how he helped or didn't help with this test? Well, that's easy. From all these colored decks, we have this here Destiny deck. There are always 2 of each card shuffled into this deck, and we take 2 randomly and add it to this test before we even start to contribute. Now, if this player added a yellow card, he only says, okay, I'm going to add 2 cards to this test, okay, like so, and then other players start to add their cards and more cards, and then we shuffle these, so we have no idea who did what, and we have the 2 unknowns from the Destiny deck. Now we see here we have a purple, a -3, plus another purple and a yellow. Okay, so we are at +1 at this moment. That's not so great. We have an orange one, which is a treachery. This is most likely from the Destiny deck, or it could be from another player. A yellow and another treachery deck. Who did what? And this is where it is possible to sabotage a mission without revealing yourself. Now, of course, a true Cylon would do this without being caught, because if you're caught, then all the suspicion goes away. And when there's no suspicion, you have less of a threat, because if you don't know who the threat is, you will maybe add a bit more cards than you had to just in order to pass the test. So very often we see this test here like 11, and we checked the value and we have beat it with 24. So we have wasted a lot of cards taking this test. And those cards are hard to come by. They only come by at the start of your turn. And if you are 6 players, well, those cards are valuable. So if you start wasting cards on things that you really want to pass, but you overpass it by a lot, yeah, just having that threat of losing too much is bad. But also if you fail the test by giving just a little bit too less or little, that is also bad. So, okay, we have stated now that there's a threat among the players, but there are many games like that as well, like Dead of Winter. You have a threat of players that are the betrayer, and they have another goal. But still, this game has a lot more to it. You see, one thing about this game with all the expansions is that it takes a long time to play. I'm talking about 3 hours to 6, 7, 8 hours at the most. But still, it's a long investment for a game. And you have this Battlestar Galactica on these shorter games, but you don't get the feeling of Battlestar Galactica. Now, the theme here is excellent. It really captures the show in many ways. So if you haven't seen the show, you will miss out a bit from it as still. But the game is about the immersion of the theme. That's one thing, but also the investment of time that you spend on this game. While playing, you are starting a kind of a social contract with the other players. You are starting to build trust. You are reading them, what kind of cards you think they are playing to the cards. You're looking at the characters and see, okay, you have yellow cards, you have yellow cards, and you both were in the test. So how many cards did you get? Okay, you gave 2 cards and you gave 1, and we have 3 negative tests here, and 2 of them are yellow. So they could come from the Destiny deck, but also it could be Baltar or Lampkin over here. And the more time you invest on this fact, the more invested you are in the game. And the betrayer is more and more starting to feel on your senses, like, come on, we spent so much time to try to win this game, and you are, or are you, is it him? There's much tension in the game that you don't get from other games, because it takes a long time to play. And if it was just a 1 hour game, like Secret Hitler, that the goal there is to find the traitor. And that's the game, find out who the Cylon is. Here, it's survival. Finding the Cylon, that is secondary or tertiary actually to the main game, and that is survival. And keeping the resources at bay and keeping the Cylons at bay and just trying to find Earth. But if you find a Cylon, then all focus shift on that person or persons, depending on the player count, because they can be such a menace to the game. Also, if you do manage to weed them out and kill them, they're still in the game because they just download the conscious to another copy of themselves, and they're still a threat. Just that now they have more powers on their turn. Well, they have powers, but the power before to just be a threat, being the unknown factor, that is such a great thing to have in this game. And once you have weeded out one Cylon, you can start to relax your shoulders and things will be a bit more smoother, or so you think. Because playing this game is hard enough by just playing co-op. I never tried it full co-op, but without the Cylon even trying to sabotage, the game is hard enough by itself. So adding that threat, it's just bad. The Cylons can even try to help and we will still lose, maybe. It's depending on the cards and how much we trust each other. So the game itself is very hard, it's very long, it has a lot of complex rules that doesn't always make sense. It has all these tiny nuances, and the rulebook is like, I have 4 rulebooks now with 3 expansions. It's a chore to just get through, and fortunately someone has made this comprehensive rulebook that you can choose the expansions you want to play with and the modules, and it will just generate a rulebook and print out, and it will ease the process a lot for you. But getting this to the table, that is a rare occasion for me. But given that it is such a rare occasion for me, it makes the game feel so much better just by the fact that it's hard to get to the table. That's because the sessions are always epic. You always have a great story to tell afterwards. You always have the moment of, you were the Cylon all along? And I was a Cylon all along. And then you have the action where someone takes their action and they just flip their loyalty card over and they reveal, I was Cylon. And the table just roars or moans or whatever, because everyone is so invested. And that investment and just the epicness of this game, I have never seen in another game like this or at all. So the game is long, it's random, it has a lot of rules to it, it has tons of expansions, and the expansions have a lot of modules, and these modules aren't all great. So for instance, the Pegasus expansions, which is the first one, it adds the Pegasus, great thing. It adds the Caprica or new Caprica location, it's abominable. So an Exodus expansion adds a new way to do the Cylon leaders, and now I'm blanking out. It adds the Final 5, which I'm not so keen on. It adds this Ionia Nebula, that's awful, it's very random, just adds some randomness. You can die just by going somewhere like that, you're dead. Not very fond of. But it also adds this fleet over here, which is the best idea ever. It's just a threat. It's building up and building up. You can see it coming, and then it comes. And we are just awestruck. This is not going to work. And then we actually managed to do it. A lot of the game's tensions are on the Crisees. And when we flip the Crisees deck, or the skills, the cards that we have invested on the Crisees, we just flip it, start counting, flip it, and flip it. And we are just all gazing at these cards and hoping that we can actually manage to do it. And then the final card reveals, and it's just one away from actually doing it. And it's like, oh no. Oh, we have all wasted all those cards. And then one player just adds, oh, but I have this card here that can, play after strength is total and reduce its difficulty by 2. And it's like, yes! So there's a lot of tension. And then you also have this stupid, simple thing, a die. This die represents a lot of things in this game, and it's very situational. Very often you have to make a jump, and if you fail a jump you will lose some population because you didn't coordinate the jump location to all the civilian ships. You jump away and you lose people forever. And if you manage to jump, let's say you have 3 population left, you're at the jump or coordination level that if you fail you will lose 3 population, and you succeed that is amazing. And it's all just on one die roll, which you can maybe alter before you roll it. And just cross your fingers that it works. I mean, you need a 7 or 8 just by one roll in this, and you can make that a 5 to 8. That's it. No more manipulation on that one. And the tension is just as the skill check. Everybody's staring at the die, see it at the result, and then it's either a jubilation or a groan around the table. And when that happens, it's amazing. And it does happen quite a lot. And it happens whenever you don't expect it. There is that one die roll that needs to be done in order to win or not win the game. There have been games that try to enhance this feeling of the one die roll that will really define the winning or losing of the game. Take for instance London Dread. You have this build up with cards. You have to solve this great mystery by flipping over cards, and not too many or not too few. And then you will add dice to this final die roll pool. And that game just doesn't work. I mean, the game itself is fine, but then you get to the end and it's just, you roll a die and see if you win. And isn't that just the same what I said here? Well, it is, but it isn't. Because in London Dread, it's artificial. You build a pool of dice, and you know the limit you have to roll, and you roll. And the problem is there, you're building this dice by game mechanics. It's the purpose of the game to roll that final die roll. And it's so artificial. In this game, you don't know how it's going to end. Maybe it's a die roll, maybe it's a crisis we need to check, and maybe sometimes you just, yeah, we won. It's my turn, I do this, we won. But having that unexpected die roll, an unexpected skill check, and just building up using investment of time and the social contract we have built just during this session, you can't replicate that artificially like in London Dread. It is just amazing. I'm sorry I had to repeat myself, but everything about Battlestar Galactica is great. Well, except for the rules, the game length, but it all adds up to this amazing experience. Now, is it a game for everyone? No. Battlestar Galactica, the board game, is all about experience. There's nothing strategic about this game. You have to respond to situations for turn by turn. You have to be passive or wait for your turn. But also, when it's not your turn, you can contribute, you can pay attention, you can add cards to the checks. So you're always in the game. Even when you're executed, you just this character here, Bolter, he dies and you take another one. You're still in the game. But it's all about experience. And if you are in for a game where you have meaningful choices, strategic things you can do, build up your engine, no, This game is the same thing every time. You go through a randomized crisis deck. You get some random skill cards. You know the color of the cards you get, but you don't know the value on it. And you have the die roll. Experience. And if you play with the people who takes this game too serious, I don't think you will have much fun. This is about the joys and the journey to the destination, not to build something up and be the best at something. It is a cooperative game where you have hidden teams, and if you can't just immerse yourself into this, that is a board game, you will not have a good time. If you have seen the show, you're in for a treat, because this game just replicates the essence of the show in a fine way. You have the silent threat. You have the raiders coming in to get you. You have heavy raiders trying to infiltrate Galactica, and they will come on this track here and board the Galactica. And if they come into the vital spots before you stop them, it's game over. If any of the resources go to zero, it's game over. And so, yeah, it is an awesome, tremendous experience to play Battlestar Galactica. I wouldn't play it every week, because then I think the rarity of the game will make it less of an experience, maybe. I don't know. When I get this game to the table, at least once a year, I am so looking forward to just putting it out there and play the game. Now, I will say that the core game, the base game, does have problems, and that is with the Crisis deck. So I would recommend getting the Pegasus expansion just for the change of the Crisis deck. No, sorry, not the Pegasus, the Exodus expansion, because they add the fleet variant, and they will change a lot of the cards in the Crisis deck. So if you are considering to get a used copy of Battlestar Galactica, also make sure you get the Exodus expansion, because in my opinion that is the one expansion you need because of this fleet here. If you get the Pegasus, that's also fine, but it's a minor module that I like. The rest is give or take. And also the Daybreak expansion adds to the game, but it makes it longer. You have to get to a longer destination to win the game. But you do get the Demetrius. I enjoy that expansion, but a lot of the players I play with do not. So yeah, it's a balancing thing. But Exodus, that is the one thing you should get, because this fleet module here, it's amazing. Now, I spent a lot of money just enhancing this game, or de-hancing it if you are more through a simplistic way, but I really enjoy this experience, and I also enjoy having all these components. I actually bought a lot of the miniatures game to enhance these pieces by making them bigger. They clunk up the board immensely, but I think they have a presence on the board, which I like. Now, would I play this game without all this? No. Would I play it with the Exodus expansion without all this? Yes. So I'm just saying the Exodus expansion is a must. But all this acrylic pieces, the civilian ships, it all looks good, but I will still play the game because it is a great game. But you need the correct crowd to play with, and that is important. So, how many players should I play with? 3? Nah, don't think so. 4? That works very fine. 5 is maybe the sweet spot, and 6 is also very fine. I usually play with 6 because I have friends that a lot of people like this game and want to play, so I try to add more. 7 with the Cylon leader, nah. I will add it if there are, like it's a convention and we have all the friends there that all enjoy to play the game together. I will allow the Cylon leader to be in, but I do not prefer it because the players playing the Cylon leader doesn't have that much of a control, and they are not a threat because we don't know what allegiance they have, and they even don't know what allegiance they have in the beginning until the end, and maybe they not even can control the allegiance they have. So yeah, it's a give or take. If you have that many people who want to play the game, sure, but yeah, 5 is the sweet spot, 6 is, and 4 is also very fine. But it will add length to the game depending on the number of players and depending on the destination you're choosing here. Earth for 10 is maybe a bit long, takes maybe 6 to 8 hours to play here, but it would be a very fun 6 to 8 hours. Time passes away very quickly in this game, and that is looking at the clock. But oh, it's 11. Should we take a break soon? Sure. Okay, so let's take the break. It's 2 a.m. Oh wow. Oh, okay. Let's take the break now. And it's not an exaggeration. Just the hours just fly by. It's amazing. So yeah, do I like this game? Yeah, of course I like this game, but it's not for everyone. And it's hard to get a copy of it. The base game is not so hard, but the expansions, that's where the trouble is. It's very hard to get those. So check out the expansions first, and yeah, well, if it's expensive, try the game first, right? Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I've given you an impression of the game, and if it's something for you or not. Cheers. So say we all. This is the way. Toaster. I want to play now. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, I have a video channel. It's the Northman. It's very inactive. I just have a different period of my life now. It's with the kids and the work and everything, and I haven't prioritized this video stuff at all. But I wanted to make a Battlestar Galactica video. So please check out my other videos here if you liked, and well, I hope you subscribe, and now you will get notified when I make another video, whenever that is. And if you click the like button, it will help me, motivate me to do this more often maybe. And yeah, I think you've enjoyed this. Oh, I'm so tired. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you will spread the word, and I hope also it has been helpful to you. So consider subscribing and liking the click button and the bell. Yeah, I don't do this too often, as you can probably guess. So say we all. So say we all. Like, subscribe.